1, 2, 3, 4. When I turn my radio dial, all I hear is pop country. Those corporate jerks sure get on my nerves. That ain't country to me. Now it burns when I pee. It burns when I pee. That's what Nashville did to me. So let's take a piss on the Nashville music biz. 'Cause now it burns when I pee.
Are we rolling still? Yeah, right? All right. This next song is called She Don't Pay Me No Mind. I wrote it when this girl broke up with me. She ain't paid me no mind. Simple stuff, people. I lay low, you can't see, my baby done left me. She's out there, you know, legs up high. Baby don't love me no more, she don't pay me no mind, child. Love me no more, she don't pay me no mind. Love me no more, she don't pay me no. Baby always loved me since long time ago. Now she left me, now I feel low. Baby don't love me no more, she don't pay me no mind. Baby don't love me no more, I'm going through hard times, people now. Love me no more, she don't pay me no mind. Love me no more, she don't pay me no. Baby don't love me no more, she don't pay me no mind. No more romancing and holding all the time. Baby don't love me no more, going through hard times. Baby don't love me no more, she don't pay me no mind. Baby no mind, pay me no mind, pay me no mind, child. Testes.
I have 3 testes.
Want me testes?
Honey, tell Bruno I got 3 testicles. No, that's just
What the?
That's not believable.
I can't believe that.
For 3, he was saying, "Oh, really?" But now 7 is not happening. Okay.
You got balls all the way up to your ass.
I got balls to my knees. In school, they called me knee balls. Knee balls. All right, you ready?
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I got a message. Hold on. Can you quiet down? We're trying to do an interview here. She said, fucking hair. All right. Welcome, everybody, to another in-studio interview with the one and only Lone Wolf one-man band.
Yes.
You got to talk louder, Bruno.
Yes.
So, man, it is awesome to have you here and have you hang out the last couple days.
Thank you, man. It's a
been
pleasure
cool.
to be here and hang out with you, too.
We first met at Chrissy Fest this year, and my first memory of us is putting together a stage.
We put together a stage.
2 guys
And 2 kids.
and 2 kids put together a stage. And then we also have chased chickens.
We chased chickens, and that was a lot of fun.
we both just kind of looked at each other like, oh, shit, they're out. And Sean came to the rescue. But it's like I said, it's great to have you. You're basically, this is your first tour, wouldn't you say?
It's my first tour going out by myself. I did a tour back in February. It was the Dukes of Jukes tour. I went out with Los Bastardos Magnificos, Brownbird Rudy Relic, and Diablo Dimes. And we all just kind of hit the road together, and that was a lot of fun.
So what's the difference between touring with a bunch of guys and then touring by yourself?
Huge difference, man. Huge difference. I love being on my own, by myself in the car. Just wake up in the morning and hit another city, and it's an incredible way to make a living and to do what you love. You know, I mean, I'm living my dream come true right now, man. To be honest with you.
Awesome. And last night we were kind of talking, and you were telling the story about how you first decided you wanted to play guitar. Can you kind of go through that story again?
I don't remember last night.
That was the Back to the Future.
Oh yeah, I watched the movie Back to the Future, and the famous part with Michael J. Fox. I must have been about, when that movie came out, I was maybe 8 or 9 years old, and it was like maybe a couple weeks later, the fair was in town, and I saw an inflatable guitar, the ones that you puff, you blow
them up.
Yeah, you blow them up, and it was a black inflatable guitar. I'm looking at that thing, and I was thinking, I can rock that. So I asked my parents to buy it for me, and they did. And I took it home, and I was jumping off the couches and doing Johnny Be Good.
Nice. So, that was at, like you said, 8 or 9 years old.
Right.
When did you kind of start playing the guitar proficiently, I guess you'd say?
Well, I would like to say that I'm a late bloomer. I mean, I don't come from a musical background at all, man. Nobody in my family plays music. My mother has a great singing voice. I always was drawn to it. I would always love it when she sang. And my grandfather had a great whistle. He could whistle like a freaking bird.
Huh.
It was beautiful sounding. But none of them really, picked up an instrument or did anything like that. I think my mom could have been a great singer, but she never, she was just a housewife, But as far as first learning to play, the first instrument I ever had was a harmonica. I used to kind of just try to imitate Jimmy Reed's sound, and with no luck at all. But then when I was about 18, I already been working a few years, and I was really into like the whole, old school punk rock. At the time, old school was like 80s.
Right.
But I loved bands like Operation Ivy, and going back even further than that was, the Ramones and the Sex Pistols, the Clash. I was a huge fan, and I loved the sound of the bass. So I saved up enough money and bought myself a cheap bass, And I had some friends that were messing around with guitars, and I'd always take my bass over to their house, and I would always take it more seriously than they did. But I learned some stuff just from playing with people. Never took a lesson in my life,
Wow.
But I just kind of picked up different techniques from different people. If there's anybody out there who wants to learn how to play an instrument, play with as many people as you can, and never think that you know it all, because you won't get nowhere.
Right. So what was it like? I love the stand-up bass.
Yeah.
But I see it as like everybody that plays the stand-up bass. I'm like, how did you pick that? With it's not the most.
I had one, and it had no strings. It was pretty beaten up, and he was moving to Canada. The day before he left, he's like, Bruno, buy this bass off me. I'm like, dude, I don't have any money.
Right.
And he's like, well, it's a $1,500 bass, And I was like, but it's all beaten up to shit. He's like, give me $100, I'll give it to you. So I scrambled around $100 and gave it to him, and I got this upright bass. And from there, like, a friend of mine, Fred, he showed me a band called Mad Sin. It's a psychobilly band. And I had this idea. I wanted to fuse jazz with punk. I thought it was one of a kind.
Right. Never been done before.
Never been done before. Bullshit. Well, I listened to Mad Sin and heard that upright bass, and it was like a punk upright bass. And then I found out that there's this genre called psychobilly, and I dug it, man. And I started researching psychobilly bands, and just started to mess around with different strings on the bass and trying to find my own sound. So that's how kind of that came about. So I played that for a few years, and played in a band
formed the band called the Van Orsdels out of Miami. And there's stuff on the internet that you guys can look up if you all want to
we
check
can get
that
some
out,
links up
stuff
there.
like that. And yeah, that's pretty much the story right there.
So when did the banjo come into play? And and I guess for me, the interesting question is your style, the claw style,
Right.
which is not seen a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you kind of pick up the banjo and start, perfecting
I'll tell
that?
you, man, it's the upright bass brought me to roots music. I started listening to all kinds of music with upright bass and stuff. Started listening to a lot of bluegrass, and I was never really a fan of country because the only country that I ever listened to was the country on the freaking radio. That's like pop shit,
Right?
So, but then when I started learning about real country music, I loved it, man. I loved it, and always been a big fan of the blues and stuff. And Willie Dixon, listening to him, I picked up a few tricks from him on the upright bass. But then I always loved the sound of the banjo, man. And one day, again, it was a movie. I went to go see a movie in the theater with my boy. It was one of these animated flicks.
Sure.
It was called, I forget the name of the freaking movie. But anyway, it was one of these animated movies. And my kid was like 4 or 5 years old. And Hoodwinked is the name of the movie. Hoodwinked. And in the movie, they had this goat that was blind and played the banjo. And he couldn't talk. He could only sing.
Okay.
I loved it. My kid loved it. I'm like, you know what? I need to get me a banjo. I was up on my money at the time. After the movie theater, I went straight to Guitar Center and got me one of these beginner kit banjos.
Wow.
And I thought the only way to play the banjo was with the picks.
The finger picks.
Finger picks, right. So I'm sitting there fiddling with the finger picks, and about a year went by, and I moved to Atlanta. Still loved the sound of the banjo. I was trying to do stuff like Doc Boggs and other artists. I was trying to do a similar technique. I had heard of claw hammer, and I had heard styles of banjo playing claw hammer, but I never thought I could play claw hammer. And one time, I used to bring my banjo to work. I want to bring it to work one time, and there was this dishwasher there. He's an African-American guy, and he was about 70 years old. And he would sit there and listen to me every time on my break on the banjo. Never said anything. One day, he said, "Let me see that thing." He showed me. He grabbed it, and he started playing this claw hammer. I'm like, "Oh, man, how do you do that?" And he showed me. He's like, "Well, you know how the banjo is. It goes down, 4 strings, and then the high one is up here. You're going to catch it with your thumb." And from there, it's all history, man.
Awesome.
From there, he showed me just a very simple technique. And from there, it just kind of, grew. I wanted to learn more and practiced every day. And I'm still not I still don't consider myself a good player. I still have a lot to learn. I've seen guys out there that are a lot better, and I'm inspired every day by different players. You know what I mean? Nowadays we got the internet, YouTube,
Right.
and stuff. That's
Right. Everybody can get on there.
Yeah, man, you can get inspired. Immediately.
So, you've gotten 2 albums out.
Yeah.
And is there any work on a third, or?
Yeah, I'm actually writing some songs now for a third album. But the last 2 that I've made have been really just, man, I go in the studio and a few hours later I got an album, mastered and everything. With this one, I really want to take my time and make sure everything is good, because I've added a lot more. My style has kind of changed in the past year. I've added a few more things on there, like the snare and the hi-hat and the crash cymbal.
And what's that like? I mean, being a one-man band,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'd think that you were limited to the sounds that you can make, but I mean, it's kind of an art form in itself.
Mm-hmm.
I see, you're doing so many things at one time.
Yeah.
Is it just practice, or is there some kind of secret to it? Because I mean, I mean, you couldn't instantly just start doing that. I mean, obviously it took some
man, it
practice.
took time, bro. You know, I mean, if you remember, I used to play with just a bass drum.
Mhm.
You know, once I got comfortable with the bass drum, my left foot, I started messing around a little bit with my right foot. So I added a hi-hat. Once I got comfortable with the hi-hat, I added the snare. Once I got comfortable with the snare, I was like, wait, excuse me. It's missing something. So I added the crash cymbal, you know. And again, it's like things that I've picked up from watching people and be inspired by them. You know.
Does it? I mean, for your songwriting and just your style in general. I mean, the more stuff you add, the more it broadens your abilities and style.
Definitely.
And your options that you have for a song.
I definitely have more ideas that I want to put into practice, you know, but yeah, like I said, you know, it's a learning experience, and it's a lot of practice and love and passion for what you do. If I didn't have love and passion for what I did, I don't think that I would be doing this right now. Right. You know, you got to love what you do. You can't just want to be, you know, I don't personally, you know, if I have money in my pocket and I go to a gig and I don't make that much money, I don't give a shit, because I had fun doing what I did.
Sure.
Now, if I don't have money in my pocket,
that makes it a little bit different.
Yes.
You know, you did play Muddy Roots this year.
Yep.
And I kind of want you to kind of go through, you know, that 15 minutes before your set started, and kind of go through what you were feeling and like how, because if I'm not mistaken, that was one of the biggest crowds you had up to that point that you had played.
Definitely, man.
Because when I saw you about 15 minutes before,
I was
you were
nervous
scrambling
as shit.
around like a chicken,
Like
with
a
his head
chicken.
cut off. But you know, kind of tell us about that experience and how it's kind of affected you as an artist.
Well, I'll tell you, man. I've always had a problem whenever I go in front of people, especially being a one-man band. When you're in a band, you have more people, and it's kind of like they cushion it for you, you know.
You can mess
you're
up
not
or
alone.
something, and
you
you're
can
not.
mess up and be there, you know. One-man band, you mess up and you're fucked.
Right.
So, you know, it's just a matter of getting up there. It always happens to me, and Nick Reddit will tell you, you know, he's seen me puke a bunch of times before I've gone on stage, you know. Once I get up there, though, it all goes away.
Right.
Once I get my first couple of, you know.
And you can see during your performance, at least for me, and I think there's video out there, but you could kind of see in your eyes, you know, and we had spent time together beforehand, you know, at Christie Fest and then at Muddy Roots, but you could kind of see where that light went off and where you kind of went into the zone, and it was, you know, all straight ahead from there.
That's
Is
cool
that
that
kind
you
of
noticed that. Absolutely, man. It happened. You know, it happens like that.
And you with each song, you seemed like you were having more and more fun.
Right.
Like you started to really dig
Well,
into
the crowd did it too, man. I mean, everybody was screaming, and to hear everybody go, Bruno, my friends were there, you know. So it was a very special moment for me, man. And I tell you, Muddy Roots really, it changed a lot of things for me, man. It gave me a lot of contacts around the country. I don't think I would have had much success booking the tour that I'm on right now if it wasn't for that experience, you know. So I want to thank Jason Glass for having me, you know, first of all, and Muddy Roots Festival, anybody involved, and all the bands too, all my friends that went, and anybody who caught the set or anything like that. Thank you very much.
And you're on the bill to go to Muddy Roots Europe.
Yeah, man.
Are you excited about? Have you ever played overseas?
No, never. This is going to be my first time. I've played in Costa Rica, down in Central America. I got a couple of gigs down there when I was down there visiting my folks. But never in Europe. I mean, you know, I've lived in Europe. My parents are from Italy. And with the exception of, you know, 2 years in Italy, I've lived my whole life in Florida, you know. But back in the 80s, we spent 2 years in Italy, and that was quite an experience. But I'm really looking forward to seeing the rest of Europe, not just Italy, even though Italy is gorgeous, and I would like to do some shows down there. But I don't know the first thing about booking anything in Europe, man. So it's a learning experience, man. As I go, I'm learning as I go, man. You know, and I've been doing this for about 2 years, and I learn every day, man. I learn every day about shit.
Would you say that the momentum that your career has picked up maybe since Muddy Roots, would you say that there's a dramatic difference between before Muddy Roots and after? Definitely
for the rest of the country. I don't know about in Florida. Florida kind of like, you know, not a lot of people get out of Florida. You know, there was only maybe a few people that I knew from Florida at Money Roots, but the rest of it was out there. But yeah, definitely, like, it did made a huge difference. Cool. Made a huge difference. It did.
Well, you know, I very much value your friendship first and foremost. You're a good man,
Thanks,
and we have a good time. But your music is unique. You know, there's a lot of one-man bands out there, and one woman bands, but yours is definitely distinctive. It's got that Cracker Swamp, you know, style to it, and it's awesome and it's unique, and that's what I enjoy about it. And I wish nothing but the best for you and your career.
Well, Blake, thank you so much, man, and thanks for having me over your house and for doing everything that you've done and enough sucking each other's dicks.
All right. Now let's go have some chicken.
Let's go have some chicken.
All right, well, we're gonna have Lone Wolf play another song, and thanks again, brother.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
All right. This first song's called Crowned. What does this got my life? I'll spend all my time with. Every day and night we hold each other tight. Can't get enough of that girl of mine. Gotta go the other side of town where I work. Gotta keep her head crowned. When I go for long. The holding don't last too long, no. When I come back, we all know more. My time is free, the crowd no longer won. Now I weep and miss that girl. Now I hold myself alone, yeah. All alone. All alone, 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 yeah. Now I spend my time alone with nobody to call my own. Now a crown is on my head and I never be down again, no.
What's slaving away in a pitfall? Swiney